Well, ladies and gents, hope you're having a fantastic day as usual. Hope my appearance on your screen can make it even better. And welcome back to another Northeast Outdoors video. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my favorite summer lures for bass. Having a few lures picked out that you can just focus on and not have to keep switching up really helps a lot. And these are usually my 4 I have tied on at all times, and I don't really waver between them. So I'm going to have the sections labeled down below in the timeline, but what I'm going to try to do is I'll introduce a lure, I'll use it, give some tips, tricks, how I fish it, that type of thing. And then I'm going to try to catch a few fish with it. So I do recommend watching this whole video to get the full effect of what I'm trying to convey here. But without yapping too much, let's get right into fishing. So this isn't in any particular order, but at number 1, I have a Texas rig. Now I say Texas rig and not just a soft plastic because it's very versatile. I think you can kind of throw whatever soft plastic you feel best with. The 2 soft plastics I'm usually going for are stick baits and creature baits, and the creature baits are usually lizards or craws. Now typically I like to leave these weedless so the hook point's sticking out, but at this time of year during the summer the weeds are starting to grow in a bit, and it really helps to have that hook protected just a little bit. So I like to stick the point in there just a little, not a ton, but not enough to where it's going to mess up the hook set, but enough to where if you're brushing against weeds, it's not going to get caught on it. So I'm fishing this just like any normal type of soft plastic. Only difference is you can fish it a little bit faster and you can fish it in deeper water. Now typically what I'm doing when I'm fishing these is I'll cast it into any type of structure point, like lily pads, logs. I'll put it around it. I'll let that thing sink for a couple seconds, let it get down to the bottom. And every couple seconds I'll give it a few pops just so it looks like a crawfish bouncing along, or same thing with a stick bait, it'll just look like a fish bouncing along. And then after I bounce it, I'll reel in the slack. There's a fish. Oh, he wrapped me up. He wrapped me up in a twig. Well, I didn't get that one, I got hung up. I think it grabbed me, brought me back into the tree, but as you can see, cast around some structure, found a fish. Oh, broke off. I think that one was a pickerel. Oh, dang it. Well, that happens. Put it right next to those lily pads. Pickerel munched on me. Oh, there's a fish. Damn it. Well, you saw him. I was midway through reeling it up and the thing just had it. That's a fish. Come here, buddy. Ah. There we go. Not gonna lie, took a while, got a lot of bites. There's your fish right off of a beaver dam right there. Beaver dams, very good spot to throw these things around. Typically beavers will build a lot of underground tunnels using the twigs and stuff. These bass will sit like right inside of the logs that are underwater, so great place to throw your bait around. But there is the Texas rig. Now lure number 2 is going to be the spinnerbait. Personally, I think the spinnerbait is the easiest lure to use that catches the biggest fish. I was out fishing with my girlfriend probably about a month ago. I had her throwing this exact spinnerbait around and she pulled up a 5.2 pounder. So since then I've bought into the spinnerbait pretty well. But this is probably one of the most simple lures to use. All you do, cast it out. Same thing as the stick bait or any other bait. Put around some lily pads, some structure, a likely place where a fish is gonna be. Then all you do is just reel it just fast enough to get these blades spinning. I'm not usually reeling them in too fast. I only really want to get those blades spinning. In that way the fish has plenty of time to go look at it, see what's up. And they don't really need to chase it down too much. It's kind of an easy meal, just rolling right by them. Now spinnerbaits, they work very well in wind, which as you can see is pretty ripping around me right now. The vibration definitely helps the fish find it in the windy conditions. And with a spinnerbait or any type of moving bait, you're keeping constant contact with it, so the wind isn't really gonna make you not feel any type of bites or anything. Oh, there's a fish. Come here, buddy. You didn't realize I had him. He ate it right in the hit, right in the cast. Ah, decent one right there. Come here, pal. On the spinnerbait. There he is. Tiny bit bigger than the other one, not by much though. Oh, there's another one. Come here, buddy. Oh my God. Almost just got taken out by that one. I was trying to move my kayak and I got lit up. All right, next lure. The hollow body frog. This is like, when you look up summer fishing lures, like this is what pops up, hollow body frog. The reason these work so well is because in the summer, a lot of bass congregate underneath like big lily pad patches, just because they provide a lot of shade and they provide cover from predators. A lot of bait fish are attracted to them, so a lot of bass will sit right under these lily pads. So if you throw a frog right over the top of them, typically they're gonna hit it. It's like if I dangled a piece of cheesecake right above your mouth, I'm probably gonna grab it and bite it. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, these aren't the most favorable conditions for a frog. Usually the best time to throw them is when it's not windy, and even better when it's cloudy. But I've caught fish on frogs under worse conditions, so we're gonna make it happen. Now, when you're fishing a frog, your setup's gonna matter a lot. I have a heavy fast action rod and 65-pound braid. It's up to your preference whether you want a low gear ratio or high gear ratio reel. I have a low one, so I get more power when I'm reeling. But it's important to have a lot of power because you can see a frog, you're fishing in these lily pads, this thick stuff. And if you hook into a decent fish, it's gonna wanna rip you straight down and drag you into all that stuff. Try to get off your hook. So, when you have a heavy setup, you get that fish and you just absolutely rip it out of those pads and all the vegetation and nonsense that you're fishing around. If you're using a light setup, you're not gonna be able to rip that thing out. That's gonna absolutely hang you up on whatever's in there. Then you're not gonna be happy because you lost the fish and probably lost your lure. There's a fish. Decent one right there, right off. We're off a little branch. And I know you're not gonna be able to tell because I edit this video, but that was probably the fastest I've caught a fish on any lure. Frogs are definitely my favorite to throw during this time of year. They're super fun to throw. You'll get a lot of fish. You'll get some pretty decent ones. Now you can see when I set that hook, I really drove that thing back. That's because with these frogs, they have some thick hooks. They're kind of meant to be set really hard, and they're meant to kind of be really forcefully dragged through these pads. People who make them know what we're doing. So they make them so they don't bend out too easily. That also means you need to put a lot of force behind them when you want to set them through a fish's mouth. Oh, just got whacked in my own frog. Something came up and swirled on it as I put it out there. That's a thing I don't do that you probably should do, is when you see your frog get hit, you slowly reel into it till you feel the weight of the fish and you know it has it in its mouth. I just kind of see it blow up on it and give it a few seconds and then rip that thing into oblivion, which isn't the smartest, but it's worked for me. However, don't take after me. I'm not a professional. There it is. Oh, is that a pickerel? No, it's a bass. That was a sickie. He might pop off. Ah, come here, bud. Oh, that was cool. Same size as the other ones. Not too shabby. He's got some weeds coming out of him. That's not very good. Now the final bait of today, gonna be a plain old popper. This is a classic for most people. Tried and true. I'll be honest, I never really started throwing these until this year. I was usually like a whopper plopper type of dude, but I started throwing them a bit more just because everybody was saying they work so well during the summer and you're an absolute goober for not throwing them. So I've tried them out a few times. They've been working pretty well for me. Definitely no type of expert on them, but I catch fish on them. Now the way I fish these, same way I fish my frog too, I don't actually twitch my rod when I'm bringing it in. I just reel. Like you can see I'm kind of snapping my reel a bit. It's making that pop. That's all you really need to do. I usually do 1, 1, 2. Let it sit for a second. 1, 1, 2. Just that. That's all you need to do. You can switch up your retrieves too. Sometimes a longer pause will get the fish to bite. Sometimes fishing it faster will get the fish to bite. It's up to you to try that out in your water body. There it is. Ooh. Didn't hook him. You can see though, I let that thing sit for quite a while. I think he was checking it out right under it. Then I gave it a pop and he came up. There's a fish. Let that one sit for a second. Damn, this thing's been eating good. Small guy, but he's got a gut. Look at the stomach on that thing. So again, you can see that long pause and the pop right after kind of got him. I've been finding that's the way to do it. I haven't used these very much, but I'm starting to throw them more often now that I'm figuring them out. They're super effective when you fish them the right way. You can see where I'm casting them. I'm not putting them in the lily pads like frogs. They have exposed treble hooks, so you don't want to cast them near anything that they'll get snagged on. What I like to do with pretty much every lure, but especially the top waters, is I'll cast, oh, there it is. I'll cast them along the lily pad line, and just like what just happened, they'll come flying out of the lily pads, chomp on your lure. Oh, see you later. But yeah, like I was just explaining it. I like to put it right along the lily pads. They'll come flying out from under, and bang, you'll get a fish. There's the last fish of the day. Oh, don't hook me. Don't hook me, sir. Oh my God. There's nothing scarier than a fish flopping around with 2 treble hooks in it. Now that's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you found it useful. I hope me catching fish and the process of me talking about it was a useful thing. I enjoy doing that, and usually it works out well. You can see what I'm doing in real time instead of me sitting at home trying to describe it to you. But thank you guys again for watching today's video. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you on the next one.